Now, we also need to copy paste a couple other things regarding the files, and that comes from here. So this is for your perk scripts. We can just drop these down at the bottom. Let's get into some actual scripting. So let's open up our scripts folder again. And I want to rename all these because I don't want my perk files to be named custom perk. So let's rename all these to Brawl Star Punch. We're going to go ahead and open up, just for the moment, the GSC. We'll just open all three files. GSH is important for just defining values, and we'll get into that a little bit later on. You're pretty much going to have to go through the entire script and replace everything that says custom perk. Yeah, that's about it. Up at the top are the credits for the people that contributed to the custom perk template. These are commented out with a /star. /star is a multi-line comment, and then it's a / at the end to end the comment. That's something that's important for scripting, which you may or may not use, depending on what you're doing. So first, let's change the file name that we changed. We want the namespace to be the same as the file name that we're currently working on, and we also want to make sure this is the same as well. So when I made Space Cadet, I didn't see a purpose for this main function. I really only needed the init, and then I just did all the perk stuff from here, from the give perk function. But I would recommend keeping the main function here, just in case you see something, a use for it later on. Like you may not necessarily need it, but I would just keep it anyway. So just go ahead for right now and change everything you see that says custom perk into your perk name. Do not change all of the capitalized stuff. We will change that in a minute. That is stuff that gets done in the GSH. So we want to have our GSH side by side with this, just for reference. Over here you can change the hint string that goes onto your perk machine. You can change the hint string here, so just put your perk name here, and yeah, you'll see this pop up when you walk into the machine in game in the power zone. Just for formatting, personally, I like to have everything be like the same distance, the same spacing. Just keep changing all these custom _ perks, and you should be fine. So one thing to note is that this function is not used. In Space Cadet, I deleted it, and also this function as well. This goes with it. In Space Cadet, I deleted it. I don't think you need it, so you can either leave it or get rid of it. It will not be seen when the script is compiled, so you don't have to get rid of it. You can just leave it there, but I will be getting rid of it for the sake of this because I like having neat, clean files. You'll also see me deleting these spaces in here, and that is something that I mentioned in the scripting guide. It is just a personal preference. I like to not have the spaces. Treyarch, Harry, and some other people you see that script do like to have those spaces. So I just like to go through and get rid of them then when I see them. And now that that's all out of the way, we need to move over to the CSC and edit everything there and make sure that everything is looking good. Your CSC should look mostly the same as your GSC. You will need to again change this here for the GSH, and there's a lot less stuff here. You shouldn't need too much CSC stuff, just because typically less stuff gets handled on the client side than does on the server side. So you should have to edit less stuff here, and unless you're doing like some FX like I will be doing, actually, you should be able to just leave all this stuff alone, because I will be having view model FX. Oops, that's the wrong thing. I will be having view model FX on the player as well as third person FX, and both of those things are going to be handled through the use of a client field. I hit Control F to search for custom perk, and that'll show you everything. Everything will pop up, and it does make it a lot easier instead of what I was doing, which was just visually searching for it. We'll do the same here. Search for custom perk, and I have disabled match case and match whole word, which means that it will find everything that's either capital or, ooh, there's something there I missed, or lowercase. And it can be part of a word, it can be its own word, it does not matter, it'll find everything. Alright, and now that we've finished up doing the main sort of cleanup work of all these custom underscore perks in the GSC and CSC, we actually need to go to the GSH and edit a bunch of stuff here. So for those of you that don't know, a GSH is just kind of like an extra file. You could do all the GSH stuff inside the GSC and or CSC, but the problem there is that it takes up a bunch of room and it makes your files look ugly, where if you do it in a GSH, you got all your stuff right here, you can just change the value, relink your map, and check what it does. So it's all just a way of having everything in the same place, basically. We're going to want to change all these custom underscore perk here with our perk. So in my case, it'll be Brawl Star Punch. Oops. Brawl Star Punch. And now, I would recommend while you're doing this, taking a look at these values, making sure that you know what they mean. So this first one just means that if you read the scripting guide, you'd know that 1 is essentially the same as true. So basically what this first one means is that if that is 1, your perk will be used within the map. So yeah, that's all there is to it. And now we will have to go back and change all the names in the GSC and CSC to be the same thing that we're changing them to here. But that is something that must be done. So here you can see that his template for this was stamina, basically, because it's 2,000 points. We're using the stamina bottle, the stamina vending machine, and the stamina FX. You can kind of see what he's done here a little bit. Some of this stuff doesn't make sense to you right now, and don't be worried about that. It won't make sense, at least not until we cover it. So basically I would recommend for the moment just leaving all 4 of these the same. You can change those later once we get to that section. Something important that you do want to do right now is take a look at this. Now this is the thing that your perk will be known as, essentially, by the game. So you notice that there is a txt file called list_of_specialties in the RAR file that you downloaded. So this includes all of the things. Basically, a perk is just a specialty. Specialties are defined inside the game engine. You cannot add more, at least to the best of my knowledge. You are not capable of adding more. So the amount that is here, I believe it's like 28, 29 or something like that. You cannot add more than that, which means you cannot have more perks than the amount of specialties that there are here. And your perk will use one of these specialties. You'll notice that most of them are perks from multiplayer. Since we're playing zombies here, things like detect explosive, they're not used. So we can just use them and override them for our zombies experience. Now, I was given a list of more specialties by someone else, and it's actually quite a bit longer. You'll notice it's quite a bit longer. I really couldn't tell you how many of them can be used, but I imagine it's most of them, and the only really way to tell would be trial and error. Now, you'll see that some of these are actual perks that exist. So Quick Revive, Double Tap 2, those are obviously of the same name. PhD Flopper as a specialty does exist, the perk itself does not. We have Mule Kick and Stamina Up. Tombstone, the same for that. The same as Flopper here. And Who's Who as well. Electric Cherry, Vulturade, Widows. I think Jug was in here somewhere. I think it uses Flak Jacket. The specialty is something that you're going to want to pay a lot of attention to. I used Jet Quiet for my specialty for Space Cadet Cola. You can use any of the ones listed here, which will be in the download that you get from here by clicking on this little link here. I don't know what to do with this txt file because I don't know which one of these work. I don't know how many of them don't work. For the sake of this perk, I will use Specialty Proximity Protection. Kind of fits the theme of my perk a little bit. So just copy paste that in there, and you will need to remember that for later because there is one other spot that needs to go. But for now, you just need to put it there. And then you also need to change .custom perk here to whatever you want your perk to be known as. In my case, it's Brawl Star Punch. And this is used for the Lua side of things. So this is how your perk shader, your icon, gets put onto the screen. We're going to leave the 2 sound files here as the same thing. The script string is the same thing. The alias is the same thing. The machine name is the same thing. Because I don't exactly remember what those do. They will need to be changed at some point. And we'll just come back here and doctor that up when we get there. But now we need to go through and change all of these in the GSC and CSC. So let's go ahead and do that. Right here, we're looking at the Radiant machine name. So that is what you're going to give your machine a target name of in Radiant, which I figured that's what it would be. So let's just go ahead and give this a Brawl Star Punch right here. Just copy paste this up into here. And you know what? Let's do it here as well. We'll just change you there and you here. We'll just leave that because Those reference things that are in your alias that you have not edited yet. Okay, and now just for the sake of progress, we are going to go ahead and open up Radiant. I probably don't need to tell you how to use Radiant, but just in case you don't know, you're going to open up the Prefab browser. You can do that by right-clicking at the top here and finding wherever it is in here, Prefab browser right there, and that'll open up somewhere around here. And then you just gotta follow the file path that you made for it. I dropped it in my HoloFire Perks folder. So right here we have our struct, and you'll see it is stamina, and we actually need to change some values on it. So make sure that you have nothing else selected. Go ahead, select that, go to Prefab, and then enter Prefab. And this will be pretty important. These values are going to be some things that we're going to need to change. So ZM Perk Machine, yep, that's what we need. And the script noteworthy. So this is what you want this is why you wanted to remember what your specialty was, because that specialty goes into here, just where the script noteworthy is. So you want to copy that and then paste it into there, and that should be good for that. I think there's one more, no, that was it. Okay, yeah, that's it. That's all you gotta do. Isn't that easy? You can screw around with the model here, save that, prefab leave, and now you should be all good for that. All right, so go ahead and save your map, and you're done in Radiant. Somehow the KVP that we set on the machine didn't save. Let's just make sure that that bad boy saved. I forgot to change the names in the zone. So that is also another thing that can screw you up big time. I forgot to change the names here in the zone. Please don't be me, please do that. So one more thing that's happened, the linker didn't like these two are different. So apparently I must have copy pasted this wrong. So just go ahead and backspace that, add another tab in here. Okay, so another very important thing that I forgot to do is to add the sounds for the perk. Or no, sound folder, that is. Zone config, and then you have a .szc file. And then to that, you just want to come over here by this comment, hit enter to add a space. And then here you can see, just copy and paste this, yeah. Especially if you haven't changed the sound of that file, but I do believe I renamed mine to Brawl Star Punch. And yet again, I have missed another very extremely important step here. So I'm going to go back into your map folder, scripts, ZM, and you're going to open your mapname.gsc. Now this is what actually puts your perk into use into the map, because without having #using scripts /ZM / your script name, I believe it was ZM underscore perk underscore, because without having this here, it doesn't actually load your script. It's a very important thing that I can't believe I forgot, but here we are. I've been rambling on for a while now, and I'd rather just look at the instructions, because my brain doesn't work sometimes. Sometimes I forget things. But yeah, you need to open your CSC as well and put that in there. Since you have a GSC and a CSC file, you don't have to touch anything with the GSH, because that is not used by your mapname.gsc or your mapname.csc. If you already have some sounds lined up to put into the map as your perk jingle and your sting, what you want to do is you want to go into from the BO3 root, share, raw, sound, aliases, and then find that CSV that you threw in there earlier. I have it opened up right here, and then back all the way back out to your root here, and there should be a file path here. It was NSZ custom something something perk something, and then it was file name / custom perk something something. Once you have your sounds, you're going to go ahead and go into the sound asset folder from your root, and you can just drop them in. You can just make a folder and drop them in there. I am just going to borrow the sounds from Space Cadet, which are all right here. You want to follow the file path that it took that you put your sound in. So it already knows the sound asset folder. So the first thing that goes in the file path is the file that is within the sound asset folder. So here it would be Holofire Perks, and then inside of that I have Space Cadet, and then the sound. So Holofire Perks, Space Cadet, and then the sound. And it should be a .wav file, .wav, whatever it's called. And it should be, I do believe it was 48,000 megahertz. I'll see you in game. Alright, and there it is. This time it actually worked. So you can see our beautiful Stamina machine that is right now currently just a placeholder. We're gonna go turn on the power and drink this bad boy. Get this perk down the hatch. So you can see there the hint string says hold F for Brawl Star Punch. It's 2,000 cost. I don't have the point for it. Alright, there you go. There's our perk. And there is no shader on screen until we set up the Lewis side of it. We will not have a shader for when we drink the perk. But that shows you it's working. That shows you that you got your perk in the map. And now it's time to get into the big scripting, the functionality of the perk. The most important part that we are concerned about. So I'll see you back over in the scripting files. So real quick, so I don't forget, I am going to drop this cost down to 500 points. Just save that up.